Hello everybody, Teacher Ian here. Today we're going to look at the word handicap. This is a versatile term with a history rooted in games of chance and sport. While its use has shifted significantly in social contexts, particularly regarding disability, it remains a standard technical term in sports and data analysis. A bit about its etymology and evolution. The word originates from the phrase hand in cap, referring to a 17th century game where players placed forfeited money into a cap to equalize the value of a trade. Over time, it evolved to mean any method used to level a playing field by penalizing the stronger party or aiding the weaker one. Its meanings and parts of speech. As a noun, in sports or games, a disadvantage or advantage imposed on a contestant to make their chances of winning more equal. A general obstacle, a circumstance that makes progress or success difficult. And in the historical and social context, formerly it was a common term for physical or mental disability. Now it's largely considered outdated or offensive in this specific context. As a verb, to hinder, to prevent the progress of someone or something, to equalize, to assign a handicap to a competitor, to predict in horse racing or sports betting, to analyze variables to predict a winner. Let's look at some contextual examples. In the context of golf, handicap is a noun. Because he has a handicap of 5, he can compete fairly against the club pro. In business, it's used as a verb. The company was handicapped by a lack of initial funding and high interest rates. In horse racing, a verb, she spent the morning handicapping the afternoon's races to see which horse had the best edge. In the social physical context, as a noun, the older building's lack of elevators was a major handicap for visitors with limited mobility. On the note of usage, if we look at handicap versus disability, in modern English specifically, within the medical and social sectors, the word handicap has largely been replaced by disability. Disability refers to a functional limitation, for example, being unable to walk. Handicap, in older terminology, referred to the barrier imposed by the environment. For example, stairs are a handicap for someone in a wheelchair. And here's a tip. When referring to people, it's generally more respectful and accurate to use person with a disability rather than handicapped person. Here are some synonyms for handicap. Choosing the right synonym can help you avoid the dated connotations of handicap while making your writing more precise. Depending on what you're trying to describe, these words often carry a more modern and professional tone. The first one is impediment. This is best for describing something that delays or blocks progress. For example, language barriers can be a significant impediment to international trade. Constraint. Ideal for discussing limitations in resources, time, or budget. For example, the project was completed despite severe budgetary constraints. Hindrance. Useful for general obstacles that make a task more difficult. For example, the heavy rain was a major hindrance to the construction crew. Disadvantage. The best neutral term for a position that is less favorable than another. For example, small businesses are often at a disadvantage when competing with global corporations. Drafting sentences for technical contexts. Here are a few ways to use the term or its alternatives in specific professional fields. In data science or sports analytics, as a verb, to provide an accurate betting line, the analysts must handicap the upcoming match by factoring in player injuries and historical weather data. In logistics or project management, as a noun, the outdated software infrastructure acted as a significant handicap, preventing the team from reaching peak operational efficiency. In education or human resources, as a noun, without access to high-speed internet, students in rural areas face a distinct handicap compared to their urban peers. And lastly, let's have a comparison of usage to help you visualize how these terms occupy different weights in a sentence. Consider this table. With the level of intensity being mild, the suggested term is obstacle. We hit a small obstacle in the filing process. If your level of intensity is moderate, the suggested term is constraint. Time constraints limited our ability to test. If the level of intensity is significant, the suggested term could be impediment. The legal ruling is an impediment to growth. If the level of intensity is systemic, the word to use could be disadvantage. They face a historical disadvantage in the market. Well, that's all for now. Please like and subscribe to help my channel grow. Thank you so much, and see you in the next one. Bye for now.